everybody. Welcome to Saturday Mornings Outdoors. My name is Paul K. This week we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness, and I'm going to review two propane heaters that basically I wouldn't even have considered a few years ago, but I was forced in a position, did a lot of research, and now I wholeheartedly recommend them. So it's basically a plan B for heating the house when the power goes out. So if you're interested in emergency preparedness and generators and all that kind of stuff, stay tuned and I'll try to make it not boring. So I'll start from the beginning. And when the power goes out, I've pondered every scenario. The thing that you need in the northern tier of the United States, in New England, in the northern states, and on up where it gets cold and below freezing, is the first and probably the most important thing is heat. Obviously, everyone probably has either an electric blower motor for their gas heating system and something electric, the thermostat that activates the actual system. So when the power goes out, you don't have no heat. And up here, if it's 9 below zero, in about 2 hours, your house is going to be 9 below zero. You have two options. You can leave and go somewhere else, or you can think of an alternative heat source. So obviously a generator, that'll solve everything. And I bought a monster generator. I bought a 10 kilowatt, and for 26 years that served me well. Really, wheel it up to the house during any kind of catastrophe. I've used it for a week, I've used it for half a day, and it bails you out. You can power everything in your whole house. So if you have a generator, you think you're all set until this happened. In one snowstorm, we got 3 feet of snow. And for me to operate my generator, I'm in my backyard. That's where the generator is, in the shed. And that's where my transfer switch is. That's where you hook the generator up to. So what had happened is 70 miles an hour, legit wind. It was a literal hurricane, and the snow was literally waist deep. I could not wade from here over to the shed to get the generator, and then for me to operate the generator, I'd have to get the snowblower and run a path. And someone told me you could have set it up beforehand, but we didn't know it was going to be that severe. So it's a 10 kilowatt generator. It's right in there. It's this black in this area. So basically the plan is whenever the power goes out, just wheel it over there and plug it in, fire it up, and away I go. But this time, nature found the chink in the armor, and it was literally waist deep snow. I could not make it from the house over to here to get the generator, and then I couldn't get a path cleared from here to the house to hook up the generator. Now we have a situation. There's no heat in the house. Everything's out. Everything else is fluff. All you need is heat. You can get flashlights, you can get candles. We got tons of all that stuff. Everyone has all that stuff. In the winter, in the north, in 2 hours, your house is going to be 9 degrees. So I had to do what you're not supposed to do. I don't have a fireplace. I don't have a wood stove. So I ran the oven, and that saved us. I ran it around 275. And if you're going to do that, they say it's carbon monoxide, but a lot of people have problems running the oven as a heat source for temporary because they leave the door open. When you leave the door open in the oven, the thermostat doesn't go off. It just stays on all the time, and that will suck the oxygen out, and that could cause a CMO problem. So, but if you're smart, just close the oven like you're baking a cake. Leave it at relatively low. I left it at 275, and that made it around 50 degrees in here, and we survived the day that the power was out. But that exposed the chink in my armor that I've never had a problem before. I've never been able to not access my shed to get the generator to power the house. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you need is heat. Everything else you can make. You don't need blow dryers. They're nice to have. The computer and televisions and all that. It's heat you need, and secondary in the summer. You don't need the heat in the summer, but your food. If your refrigerator is off for 2 days, you're going to have to replace all that food. So those are the two main things: heat in the winter, refrigerator in the summer. So to remedy this situation, I searched, and I didn't want to be putting that. That was scary. I was pretty scared. You know, literally, we didn't know when that. It was a 2-day storm, the worst storm Boston has ever had, and I thought that I had the bulletproof plan and nothing could touch me. And there's the link. So what I had found out is these guys, propane heaters, and this is what this episode is about, as a secondary heat source. And at first, I wouldn't even consider these because everyone says carbon monoxide and all this stuff, and those are meant, it says they're meant for outdoors, but if you do your research, and even they recommend, these are propane run. And if you get, like for instance, these are called Mr. Heaters, and this is the little buddy. I'm not sponsored by anybody, by the way. I'm just trying to help someone that's in the situation that I am, or I was in, and this is plan B. So this is called the little buddy. It runs on 1 canister of propane, which will last about 3 hours on high. This throws out some heat, and these are both meant for outdoors. And this is the basic home or garage indoor style Mr. Heater. This throws up like 3 times the amount of heat that one does. They both run on propane. So basically the bottom line is this. You get a 20-pound can of propane before the storm hits, and you have these on hand. And you run the canister outside. The fear is that propane may leak in the house. So you run the canister outside. You buy the secondary hose. This is a 10-foot hose. They recommend you don't need it with this filter, but there's a filter that goes on it to get the oil out of the propane when you're running it, so it doesn't, if you're familiar with these heaters, that's what clogs up the catalytic converter in there that blasts the propane into the ceramic wedge, and that clogs up. So with that, you get these are like $10. Get the filter for it. So you run a 20-pound can of propane, which is a standard. If you have a propane grill, you know, for outside, it's that size. That'll last you like a week on high, and that's way more than enough than you need. You put the can outside, and you run this hose through the window, and then you set up your heater. Now, as far as ventilation goes, you should have a carbon monoxide detector just in case in your house, just to have the detector going. But I have not read one time online. People run these in their house all the time, and I'm searching for glitches that they had carbon monoxide detectors go off and everything like that. And these are really safe, and they have high explanations of everyone is saying that they're all good to run inside. Just be careful with them. You have to crack the windows, even if it's 7 degrees. Like running a fireplace or like running a wood stove, if you keep the windows shut and run the wood stove, the fire will just be embers and will not burn correctly. Once you crack the window just a little bit, don't matter what the temperature is, and adjust the flue and the damper, which adjust the airflow in the wood stoves, you can adjust the intensity you can make it so hot in that room you can't stand it. You can't stay in there. Or you can make that 2 logs burn all night long just by adjusting the damper and the flue. It's the same with these. They need an airflow. So you have the tank outside, the hose that's connected up to either of these. This one on a 20-pound tank will probably run for 2 weeks. Then this one right here, they say roughly about a week, and that is plenty of time for a power outage. So when used safely, check online for yourself and see about these. I guess the manufacturers want to unbind themselves, and they say they're meant for outdoor use, but everyone's using them for indoor secondary heat sources when the power. And you can buy the Mr. Heaters. They have many varieties, the giant commercial ones, and they're all like really top rated, but they're very easy to buy. Walmart, Home Depot. You know, if you order it online, Walmart's probably going to have all of them the cheapest. They always do. But Home Depot, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, all those stores carry. They're very popular heaters. Very affordable. I think that's about $120. That actually costs more than that one. That one's about $110. But this is extremely portable. It runs on a smaller tank for about 3 hours. The 20-pound tank, you can probably go for weeks with that. And this one will last about a week. It would be a waste to hook up a small tank because you're going to be running that just get the 20 pounder for that. And these are the accessories that Mr. Heater recommends with them. So Mr. Heater heaters, propane heaters, will save your life. Safety is utmost importance because propane can be a volatile source of destruction. So you have to be careful with them. When you hook up that hose, you basically get soapy water. Where the end of the hose goes into the tank, you spray it on there, make sure there's no leaks. And then where the hose goes into the heaters, spray a little soapy water on there. And if there's air bubbles, you got to leak, tighten it. If not, then you can run it and you're good. And these are basically foolproof, and they're awesome secondary sources of heat. These will save your life, and that's all I'm trying to do, is help someone if they had the same problem as we did. Like I said, I thought I was bulletproof for a long time, 26 years, but nature never gave us a 3-foot storm at once. And that just knocked out all my chances of having heat. This right here, throw them up in the attic. If you think a big storm and the power may go out, come along, get a 20-pound can. By the way, the shelf life of propane is indefinite. As long as the can's not leaking or anything like that, which they are inspected, they last forever. You're supposed to store them outside. And just keep this can on the side of your shed in the shade. That's all. The same as you would a grill, your propane grill. And you'll be all set. This would be plan B. And as far as I know, you will have heat no matter what. And to me, that's huge. We were terrified once that power went out. I mean, because now we were stranded and we thought we had it all figured out. As well as most of my neighbors, the same thing happened. So we all had to revert to the stove technique. But these are the option, I think, to go with. And as far as I know, there's no other alternative. I mean, you're forced to use this. I looked into 12-volt battery-operated heaters. Heating elements require a ton of wattage and no series of batteries, aside from getting 15 batteries hooked up all at once, and a modified heater that's extremely expensive will work on electricity. So this is your only viable option. Check out the reviews online. You'll see these are bulletproof, and everyone uses them, especially up north and hunting camps and all that, ice fishing, all that stuff, and they never have. I'm searching for a problem because I want to know the problem so I can defeat it before it happens. And there is none so far as I can see. I'm sure someone out here there's haven't had a problem. So just a preparedness episode for guys to help someone that may need a secondary heat source during an emergency. And that'll be this week's review of those propane heaters. I hope this can help somebody out. It's very valuable, and that would be plan B aside from the emergency generator. So my name is Paul K. Has this been a help to you and you liked it? Please like and subscribe, smash those buttons down there, and tune in next week. We'll probably be doing something outdoors. See ya.